And Jon Stewart joins us live now from the Daily Show studio in New York. Jon, we used the pictures, you sent the satire. Did you make this film out of a sense of collective guilt, or was it something specific about Maziar's character?
I think it was more something about Maziar's character. You can't feel guilty when someone utilizes something inane for their own authoritarian or idiotic purposes. You can't control that. But Maziar's memoir was so incredibly well done and so moving in how he reclaimed his humanity during that time of captivity. And he and I became very good friends. So it stemmed from that more than... I do a lot of things based on collective guilt, but not this one.
And, I mean, Iran is big in America, and yet ignorance of Iran is big. It's tricky because this is the great moment for opening. And yet, of course, the last image many people in America will have is your film.
Well, no pressure. Well, look, the level of dialogue between the two countries at present exists on our side. Our President Bush included them in what was called the Axis of Evil, which is a two-dimensional caricature. And on their side, they chant death to America. So I figure that however simplistic or unnuanced Rosewater may be to a native Iranian, it's at least a level above in terms of sophistication of the dialogue between the two countries. So it's cold comfort, but it's comfort.
I said you were an educator, and you have. You've educated an American public that was used to same old, same old. And I'm just wondering, how can you bear to leave with another Bush-Clinton election campaign? Is it beyond satire?
I think at a certain point, it's just I didn't want to do a sequel. You know, there's only so many of these that you can do. You know, I think that the process by which, you know, our elections are run have become increasingly redundant. And I think you get to a certain point where you feel as though you've presented it as clearly and as effectively and as humorously as you possibly can. And maybe there's another way in on this. Maybe there's another way to do it. So just creatively, it was probably time.
For a moment, I thought you were talking about the British general election.
No, you guys do it right. You get to the same terrible results we get to, but you do it so much more efficiently. To do in 6 weeks what it takes us 4 years to accomplish is, well, it's quite exciting.
How much do you know of the British general election? I mean, have you noticed any characters? Has anybody woken you up? How about Russell Brand?
Well, I didn't know he was running. Boy, you really have. So you guys are.
He is, but he's not on the ballot paper.
I'm excited for any election. I feel like the British public will go through as many Miliband's as they can till they get to one that they like. So I don't know how many more of the brothers there are, but I'm sure if the British public continues to meet more and more Miliband's, they'll find one that they deem appropriate.
And do you have any sense of the possible outcome?
Well, I think both Cameron and Miliband have been smart to not portray themselves as too Churchillian or too charismatic. I think it's really smart to lower the public's expectations of what either one of those could accomplish. I really think it's going to come down to SNP. I think they're going to be the deciding vote, and England is going to secede from itself. That's my guess. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that's the way it's going to go.
I think you may be on the money, but you see, the thing here is that we think that we've been dragged into the American way of politics, that in the end, there are no winners. I mean, your Congress is jammed. We're talking about Westminster simply being unable to function because there won't be a winner. You know, I mean, what have we done to politics?
Well, no,
Have we trashed politicians, made jokes of them so much that nobody believes in them and nobody wants to run?
Right, but that's not the problem of the jokes. That's the problem. You know, people have lost faith in the system, not because people have pointed it out, but because the system has shown itself to be so fraudulent. You know, we here in the States look very admiringly about the fact that you don't spend that much money on elections. You do them very quickly. Your news media, I was listening to your program in my ear. It's sober. It's concise, it's clear-minded, it has no partisan rumblings, it has no bias. You have the institutions in place that we imagine we wish we had, and yet here we are. You guys make the same stupid decisions we do, even with the proper institutions. So there you have it. With not spending too much on elections, with having a better news broadcasting system, with questioning your politicians in question time directly, and yet you still went to war in Iraq. So I'm not sure what the answer is anymore.
Could you take those rose-tinted glasses off, please?
It's only, I think it's salt water from the ocean. But it's you know, we chastise our own institutions as being not serious, and I think we view yours as slightly more serious. So I think it's comforting to us to see you making the same stupid decisions we make.
Jon Stewart, thank you very much indeed for joining us live from New York. Great to talk to you.
You're very welcome.
All the
Thanks
best.
for having me.